many with us that are on this call, some of you maybe aren't aware of all the things that we do. I've been in business for over 30 years. We're Kodak's top 5 imaging resellers in the country, and really have been for the last several years. And really, we focus on document capture. Of course, we have scanners and maintenance that goes with that, but our focus has turned to advanced capture software and solutions. So what we're doing is find ways to help our customers capture data more effectively and more efficiently. We align professional services, we do integration, custom development, things of that nature, and we'll have a document conversion like here at our place where we'll scan, and we're working on some business processing opportunities as well, where we'll be able to host things like data capture software or data extraction software in a hosted environment. So those are some of the things that we're working on and involved in. We've had great success in keeping our customers over time, and we really have every day to focus our customers and make sure that we're doing everything we can to help them and act in their best interest. And that really kind of the philosophy of our company. So, webinar goes, the challenge that we're talking about is the fact that all of you are reading documents that are being generated or collected by remote workers. So, when you see these documents or generate these documents, they're either mailing them to you, so scan them. And of course, when you mail things in from remote offices, you've got the costs of getting that mail every day. Most of it's FedEx or some type of next service. And there's also delays in getting documents processed or to your workflow systems. Part of the problem you run into is that probably all of you are receiving documents into the central records area or into your document management system or into your workflow system from remote users. You've got the part maybe you're scanning in another building or another end of the building or cross town at another location or an office where they're scanning documents that are coming into them and sending them to you. That's that field personnel scanning. You have salespeople, adjusters, work from home associates. So you've got the people handling scanning, which seems like a pretty simple thing to do. But what really happens is that when you have other people scan your documents for you in these remote offices, they're consistent. And I've met our customers, and these are some of the things they talk about. You get color images when you're expecting black and white, CPI 8 megabyte image instead of a 200 dpi image that's 25K, so you've got a storage issue. Single page TIFF when you really wanted a multi-page PDF, they're not set correctly. You got backs that you should have deleted already. Customer, your remote person just scans the fronts. They don't scan the backs, so you don't know if you're missing important data off the back of a document. And documents without being properly identified. You don't have the right metadata. The policy number, the customer number, the information that you need to file that effectively or to put that into a workflow effectively. So, kind of the problem. We either get documents in that are just inconsistent, not correct. So, what we're going to today is a solution from Kodak Alaris that really put controls in place for remote scanning. So, first, we're going to shorten your time to getting documents processed because we're going to get them scanned in correctly. So you don't have to have somebody on your end in the central records area viewing those documents, making changes and corrections. We're going to get that consistency that you need. You know what the images are going to be captured, whether they're black and white color, bits and DPI, all the things that you want. And we're going to make sure that the naming structures are complete to have all the metadata needed to document and process the document. It's an implement system, easy to maintain. It takes a lot of the burden off of your IT support, which most people today, IT sources are scarce. So, the more that we can help take some of the burden away from them, the better it's going to be, and the better it's going to be for your system. and wants to do is it's going to save us time and money because we're able to get these things done more quickly and more consistently. So that's kind of just an overview of what we're talking about. I'll turn it now over to Dave Strock from Tech, who is going to give us a presentation about their product, Info Input, and then also a demonstration of how the product works. So Dave, want to take over?
Well, I just want to thank everybody for taking the time today. I'm going to give a brief overview here of Info Input, what it is, what it does. I have a demonstration I can show you. We'll go back in and show you some examples of how this can be used. So the trend in line of business applications today is to, kind of everything off the desktop. So let's get things servers, let's get things centrally managed. Let's, as Tim said, lessen that burden on IT. And things in the enterprise content management world are kind of moving in the same direction. So think of your CRM systems, your document management systems. Try to get that stuff centrally located so that, we don't have this, every time we need to make a change or something, we have to go to every single desktop and do those updates. What we found in talking to partners and customers was that there was kind of a gap in the capture part of this whole process. So the capture typically was still loaded on a workstation, for the people that were scanning and indexing. And kind of where Kodak Info Input kind of that gap. It is a browser-based capture. So in other words, all the end user needs is the ability to get to a browser, whether it's Chrome or Firefox or Explorer. It is centrally managed. In other words, all the software is on a server so that anytime you need to do updates, change jobs, add jobs, any kind of stuff, it's all done on a server so that the next time the end user hits that URL, we're getting the latest and the greatest. And the factor here is we built this with a very open-ended architecture so that we can integrate it with the business applications, document management systems, other advanced type of capture systems that you might have. So this is that, it's not necessarily hey, let's take out everything you have and put this in. It's kind of, let's use what you already have from an infrastructure basis and to capture and enable more individuals. So built this, the theory here was building this from a clean slate. So in other words, this isn't part of some other application that we have. It's not re-architected from something else. It's not a bolt-on piece that we have. We really wanted to use a clean slate and come up with something that was purely just capture so that we could, again, integrate it with other line of business applications you might have or, advanced capture systems so that we could, enhance what you already have built. So there's capture anywhere. So we can capture enable other line of business applications. We can, make more individuals within your organization, give them the ability to scan documents or import electronic documents. Absolutely nothing that is loaded on the workstation so that you don't have to worry about things like operating systems and all those types of things. Compatible, as I mentioned before, with all the browsers out there that are in existence. We get to the demonstration, you'll see that there's a very simple user interface which cuts down on any training issues or those types of things. And the licensing is very simple as well. So there's a server license and then there are concurrent user licenses. It gives you flexibility if this thing that you get in place and then we find out, hey, we have 5 other people that we want to be able to scan things, it's just adding, a couple more concurrent user licenses, giving them permissions to log into the service. So there are 2 flavors, if you will, of input. The first, batch capture, which is your typical, scanning batches of documents, indexing them, sending them to where they need to go. And then we also have what we call a transactional. And we can embed scanning into a line of business application. So if you're using Salesforce.com or you're using IBM Content Manager, we can actually put a scan button directly into that application. Users can scan or import documents from within that application, as opposed to getting a program, going and scanning something, sending it to a folder, then going back into the program, hitting import, going to find the image back in, maybe open it up and add properties to it. So again, as Tim mentioned, we're really putting a consistency, getting things into whatever systems that you're putting them into. So as far as things like profiles, in other words, when they pick a job to scan into, the SIM profile will always be the same for that particular job. So you always get, black and white if that's what you're looking for. You always get the same DPI. It'll always be scanning front and back sides if that's what you want. So it really puts some consistency in that. So Tim kind of mentioned some of these, but some of the capture problems out there and how to solve those. So IT maintenance, again, if you have something loaded on a number of different workstations, you always have to go to those workstations to do updates or make changes. Because this is centrally managed on a server, everything is done on the server one time. Next time an end user goes to use it, they have the latest and the greatest. Nothing loaded on the desktop at all. The user experience, as you'll see when I get into the demonstration, very simple, very easy. I mean, the interface has a scan button and an index button and a get out of the program button. Very little training needed for people. The integration piece, so, this is something that can enhance capture within your organization without having to, uproot or change, the infrastructure that you currently have in place. And I'll show you a couple of examples of this after we do the demonstration of the batch capture. We're able to, enable line of business applications by putting a scan button directly to the application so that users can consistently and easily get documented data into their back-end systems. So to hop into the demo, so everything's Java. It's scalable, so we can process up to 2 billion pages per year on one server. It's any scanner with a 20 or an ISIS driver, and it will run rate speed up to 210 pages per minute. I know there's a couple other browser-based capture products out there, but I think they have a limit of about 120 pages per minute. So we can run rated speed up to the 510 series codec scanners. Again, easy to use. We take that burden off of IT with the centralized server. It does all the normal things that capture does. So it can read barcodes, it can read them to populate index fields, it can read them to do separation. We can do database lookups. We can do any number of things that capture the products do. They also have the ability to drag and drop documents into the screen that you're seeing here. So with a photo from your desktop, that's what we call asynchronous batch uploading. So let's say you have a particularly large batch, 200 pages or something. You can actually start working on that batch as it's coming in rather than waiting for that whole thing to load up into the program. So kind of you can see from the screen here, the documents are ready. You can start working on them as they come in. So we'll get into the demonstration. So as you can see, they're very simple. So a scan button up here at the top. We have an index button and an exit the program button. So user, basically all I come in here and do is I hit the scan button. That up our create a new batch window. We have a drop menu for the different jobs that we have available. In this case, I just have 3 of them. The thing is, this is also all tied to missions and users and groups that you set up so that, let's say, for example, I'm in the accounting department. When I scan something, I'm going to see the HR jobs or other departments. I'm only going to see the ones that I'm allowed to scan into. Here we have a name for this to fix. In this case, we've defaulted it to the job and then the date and time. This can be configured in different ways if you'd like. We can option here. We also have priority. So for unattended queues, in other words, batches up to the server and sending them from the server to the line of business applications. If we set higher priority here for this particular job, it'll just kind of jump the line in the queue of things that need to be processed. I have down in the bottom left here this little checkbox that says private. So, for example, I'm scanning some sensitive documents or something, and I don't want anybody else to be able to see that. I can check that box, and I will be the only person in the system that will be able to see that particular batch as it goes through the process. As an user, I'm just going to come in here. I'm going to hit create scan. I'm going to import some electronic documents. If I had a scanner hooked up, that would look exactly the same. So I'm click on these. In the center here, we have a window that comes up, shows our pages as they're coming through. This could be locked on a separate screen if you wanted to. It's also built over here on the left a tree view. So in other words, scanned all these pages in, but it actually separated them into different documents. The way this is, we've set up our configuration so that we said, as I just over here and fly this out, every time we see a new barcode, we're going to start a new document. So there's a barcode on this particular document. If I on this second one, there is no barcode, so we kept that as a page of the first document. And then the third one, we have another barcode, started a new document. Operation based on barcodes, on blank pages, hash codes, or a fixed amount. So if we are set in a batch document and we know they're all 3 pages each, we can just set that parameter that every 3 pages start a new document. There's a number from our thumbnail view. So if I right-click, I can things like split a document or create a new document or rotate. If we determine that, let's say, the page here in document 4, this page actually belongs in document 6, I can just highlight that and drag it in there. Multiple things we need to do. So if I say, okay, well, this particular document and this document were the wrong way, I can go ahead and click both of those and rotate them. And put them back away. So if we document, we can notice that this document 5 here is all one document. If we fly on this particular page, we can see we crossed the barcode off at the top. That's why it did not separate. So if I need to fix that, it is easy hovering in between those 2 pages and clicking one time, and I've separated that document. We have customers that use this portion of it. Maybe they get in, a whole 200-page TIFF or something of that nature, and they want to split that up into different documents. They use this to do that. Like I have customers that get a number of different documents in, and they want to combine those into one document. You can do that here as well. So once from a quality control standpoint, looks good here. I just go and because I'm doing everything, I can go ahead and hit the index button. Organizations have people that just are dedicated scanners and others that are dedicated indexers. You can certainly do that as well. The scan could go in and make sure everything's okay, and set to a queue where dedicated indexers can go in and pick up jobs and do the indexing. In this case, I'm doing the whole thing. So over here in the indexing pane, you can see we have our flower image in the center. This again can be docked to a separate monitor if you want to make it bigger. We have navigation controls up here at the top, so I can go through here by page. I can go through here by document. I can resize the image to make it fit better. I can do some rotation here as well. We do have the ability to do some annotations if you want to put some stamps or something on the document. Over here to the right, we have our index fields. So the 4 that we have set up for this particular job, the case number, name, social security number, and date of birth. These fields can be constrained. So in other words, that the case number we know is always going to be non-numerical digits. We can contain that so that if somebody puts a letter in there or they only put 8 numbers in, we won't accept it. Pull up an error and say, like, you have an invalid value here. Likewise with something like a date, going to make sure it's in a date format. We also are able to get a date picker here to make things easier for people to put this in. At the bottom here, we have zoom zone. So we have this value, which we're reading off the barcode, but which we also have on the document itself. So if we were needed to type that in manually, we zoomed in on it so it's big and easy. Also makes it easier to make sure that the OCR or the barcode reading is reading the correct value, so you can compare this to the value that we have up here. A way that this is helpful too is if there are documents that have handprint on, we can zoom zones so that we blow up the area without somebody having to fish around the document to look for it. And that way they can manually type that in much easier than to search for it in the document. On the next button, we go to the next document. In a production environment, you likely set this up so that it would only go to the exceptions. You don't want to click next 9 times to get to the end of the batch, so we set it up to go just to the exception. In this case, it would come directly to this page. We have no values at all. So this is where we cross the barcode value out. So we can't read that barcode. We couldn't come up with a value in here. Go down to the zoom zone, and we could very easily type that in if we wanted to. Also have OCR, so if I click on this icon up here, I can just draw a box around that number. We do OCR on it. It brings it directly into the field. We can make sure that it read it correctly down here. And the other thing that I have set up in this particular demo is a database lookup. So once we validate that this case number is correct, we'll go hit a database, and we're going to back the name, the social security number, and date of birth that are associated with that particular case number. So with the tab button, we automatically populate those fields. We're just going to the end of the batch. If I'm a dedicated indexer, I will most likely hit this center button here. So just close this one out and pop up that's ready for indexing. In this case, I'm closing out. Because I'm sure we go back to the user base screen. Now we'll pop back into the presentation. Give examples of the transactional capture and how we've embedded that into a business application. We have a financial institution. This screenshot here is actually their document management system. And then what we've done is we've put a scan button directly into it. So with that scan button, images will come up the same way that you saw them when we did the batch capture. But one here has been able to add consistency to the way they get documents in. So if you know that the fields that are in red, those are mandatory fields. We've also done some things like built some drop-down menus so that they put in the correct value. So, you know, they can, when there it says SSN or TIN or the number, you know, we're putting in SSN there so that we consistency to that. So some people might put SS and number sign, some people might write in social security number, type it all out, so we're getting the exact same consistent values. Cars, which is the Department of Transportation. The neat thing about this is they use it internally to get documents into their systems, but they all have a customer-facing external site where people that are applying for applications or whatever, they can add their supporting documentation, you know, from a website, so that the customer is actually putting that in. So over here to the right, you know, they upload documents that they've scanned, and they can add, you know, in this case, 3 fields of metadata and put it in. So the information is in there, and it's in there immediately, and it enhances the processing time for different applications that they're using. Here we have integration to Salesforce, but this could be any CRM system. It could be any document management system. If you'll notice that we're in a particular record within Salesforce, in this case the Alaris records, what we've done is we've added a scan button directly in that record, so it will be in all the records. Somebody needs to add some supporting documentation to the Alaris record. They come in here, they hit the scan button, it comes up just as you saw in the batch demo, and if you notice in the top left, we're still in Salesforce, okay? So they can document, text them, get in within context, and then once we've done that, here are the documents that we scanned in that are in this particular record. So again, it eliminates the having to go scan something, send it to a folder, come back in here, hit import, go find it, bring it back in, maybe change the properties. So it eliminates all that hassle. Plus, it puts that consistency around getting documents in with the correct metadata. And for my part of the presentation. So if you want to to questions, Tim, or if you have some closing remarks.
Do you have any questions there?
No, I don't have any that came across on the screen. I'm going to go ahead and unmute everybody. So feel free to ask any questions if you have any.
Yeah, the one thing I would like to add is that if this looks appealing, if this looks like something that might enhance what you're currently doing, or you're just curious about it, we do offer trial versions so that we can get all, you can play with it and see how it works in that regard.
Okay.
So do we have any other questions? Well, I appreciate everyone attending. Thank you for spending some time with us today. This has been recorded, so we will have available. We'll send a link out to it for everyone. If you have any questions, let us know. If you'd like to set up a more detailed demo of the program, we can work with you on that as well. So thank you, everyone. Have a great afternoon, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
All right.